Good morning. Happy Sunday. Today we are going to chat about we become what we behold. I still have my coffee this morning. It's early, but I wanted to hop on here before I left for church. After that, I wasn't sure when I would be able to hop on. So grab your coffee and let's chat about becoming what we focus on and changing our focus. And just even being aware of what we're focusing on, right? So awareness is probably the first, I'm going to have to set this down. Y'all have your coffee. I'm going to set my coffee down. You've heard me say that phrase before. We become what we behold. At any given moment, we get the choice. And part of learning that for me has been becoming aware so that I can catch that negative spiral earlier and earlier. Whereas before, hey guys, I didn't know if anybody could join me on a Sunday morning or not. This early. I'm still kind of waking up myself. And, I have my phone. My window ledges are like the perfect height for a little phone holder for my videos. But the sun is in a different place because I'm not usually on here this early. So here in a minute, I might need my sunglasses to chat with y'all. So that's why it looks a little different. But for me, and I still haven't perfected this. You guys have heard me say this on every single video. I'm still in the middle of fighting this battle. I'm just sharing what I'm learning, and I am loving chatting about this book with you guys. So it's actually helping me to process it and to be more proactive and more engaged with actually taking action myself to read through this book with you guys and to chat about it, to know I'm going to have to get on here every morning and chat about it with you is helping me to be more accountable. So I'm so glad that you guys are joining me. It's helping me too. I hope it's helping you. So I was saying part of the journey for me is, I tend to be a wallower. We talked about that one day, wallowing. And so that negative habit had become such a habit that learning to break it takes practice. So my goal is to catch that negativity earlier and earlier and earlier. If I can catch it, when I start that thought or whatever, instead of hours later when I'm like wondering why my life is over and everybody hates me and life is just, seriously, I get myself there really quickly. So how can I learn to turn that around even quicker? And I think that awareness is growing the more we practice. We've been talking about practicing the new thoughts. The more we practice those new thoughts, the quicker we're going to catch ourselves, right? So he says, at any given moment, you can choose to pay attention to what's present or what's missing. Okay, when I did that poll the other day and I asked you guys your Enneagram numbers, there weren't many 4s. There's a few of you. But one of the classic characteristics of a 4 is you always feel like something's missing. So for me, this is huge. It was a huge light bulb moment to realize that I had done this most of my life and I didn't even realize it. There's always something missing. There's something in me that's missing. There's something in my marriage, my parenting, my relationships, my work, whatever. There's always, I wish I had that. Or, I don't have this, so I can't do that. Or there's this part of me that's missing that will never be just right. Focusing on my inadequacies, right? Or my weaknesses instead of looking at the gifts God has given me. So at any given moment, I get to choose. I get that choice. I can stay there and I can wallow in whatever's missing from my life, or I can choose to pay attention to what's working, the blessings I do have, the things I have achieved. I can focus on what I've achieved, or I can focus on all the ways I've messed up. Do any of you ever dwell on your mistakes? I can focus on what's working, or I can sit there and I can dwell on what's not working and what's broken and what's messed up. I can focus on what is possible, what's impossible, or what's possible. I can focus on the things that I get excited about, or I can focus on my fears. It's my choice in that moment. And in doing so, in making that choice, moment after moment after moment, I will win or lose the battle for my mind. we become what we behold. So in a nutshell, whatever you dwell upon becomes increasingly conspicuous in your own mind. So here's how it works. The more you emphasize, okay, here's an example using your health. And I've been learning this on my health journey too, especially when I was in the middle of losing weight. The more you emphasize the good habits, feeling good, the good things you're doing for your health, the good choices you make, the more motivated you're going to feel to make those good choices, right? I learned that so much. Like if I sit on the couch and eat ice cream and watch Netflix all day, does that motivate me to get up and exercise? No. What does that do? That makes me, first, it's probably going to make me tired and bloated and have a stomach ache and be tired. And then it's this cycle of I don't want to get out of bed. The more sugar and processed foods and breads that I eat, the worse I feel physically. So foods definitely impact my mental health. That's a whole nother video. But what I'm saying is when you're trying to make healthy choices, you're trying to lose weight, maybe you're not even trying to lose weight. Maybe you're just trying to get healthy. You don't feel good or whatever, and you're ready to feel good. What you're focusing on is going to motivate you to make better choices, right? So I have to make that choice that I'm not going to sit there for hours on end, and which Netflix isn't really my bad habit. I don't really watch much TV, but eating the bowl of ice cream every night was my bad habit. So the more I do that, the worse I'm going to feel. But one small good choice and focusing on my goal. Remember yesterday we talked about how goals impact our mindset. Setting those small baby steps. What can I do today? I can drink more water. I can toss the cookies in the trash. I can stop the soda habit. Make small baby step choices. And the more small baby steps you take, the more motivated you're going to be to make more better choices. Has anybody else found that? As you do the thing, you become more motivated to keep going. So, the more you focus on the positive qualities of your spouse, the closer and stronger your relationship will become. And I have had this happen with 2 or 3 very distinct relationships in my life. Doesn't happen to be my spouse, but other relationships that have been strained, or I've been hurt, or struggling for forgiveness. And what I do is first I start praying for that person every day, and what I'm praying is for God to bless them. Secondly, I start thinking of all their positive qualities. And I'm not saying this is easy, and I'm not saying just one day I woke up and all of a sudden I felt positively about this person. But I'm saying that over time, my heart, see the sentence, this is funny. Maybe you can see my phone shadow. But over time, the more I did that, my heart softened. And so focusing on the positive, there's later in this book, I'm going to give a spoiler, but my favorite quote from this book on talking about relationships where you're hurt and struggling for forgiveness, my favorite quote from this book that has really, really helped me is compassion preserves my joy. So in thinking about a relationship in my life with a family member, over years and years of, all that baggage, when I started realizing that that person was broken, that person had been through a lot of junk, hurt people, right? So when I started having compassion and praying for God to bless that person, when I started really realizing, yeah, you know what? That person is hurting too. And that person isn't perfect. And that person was doing the best that they could at the time. And I'm not saying that, that's the case for every situation. And I know there are situations where there's abuse or there's neglect or whatever. That's not really what I'm talking about here. But even in a normal relationship, we hurt each other, right? And those wounds go deep. And I grew up where we didn't really talk about stuff. So, just learning, that's probably a whole nother video for a whole nother day also. But what I'm saying is focus on the good, pray every day, pray for God to bless them, and remember that compassion can preserve your joy. Compassion goes a long way. When you start to realize, you start to give that person the same grace that you want to be given yourself, because we hurt people too, right? Sometimes we're the hard one to love. So what do we want from others? We want others to be compassionate with us too. So how can I be compassionate towards someone who has hurt me? By realizing they're hurt, they're broken, they need love and forgiveness just as much as I do. So the more I can focus on those things, the more that I feel better about the relationship, the more I feel positive about how I am, and the more I act on those blessings and the positive attributes, the better I feel about the relationship. And has that person done anything to make things better? No, it's all been in me. Refuse to fuel the negative emotions by constantly talking about all the things that are wrong in your marriage, or your child, or your back, or your aching muscles, or your neighbors, or your work, or whatever your struggle is. Refuse to fuel the negative emotions by constantly talking about it. And that's where we talked about wallowing a few days ago. You just have to stop. That's what I'm doing myself. I just have to make myself stop. Stop it. Stop. Refuse. I refuse. And why? What helps me push through? Because my tendency is just to want to sit there and cry about it all day and think about how bad my life is and how wrong this person was. Is that getting me to where I want to be in my life? Is that making me any happier? Is that helping me reach my goals? Is that helping me become the confident, kind, generous, grateful person that I want to be? No. It's continuing that vicious cycle where I'm just weepy and depressed and sad and needy and clingy and jealous when I think about all the things that are wrong. So sometimes I fail and I do sit there and cry for a while. And it's, I'm not saying don't cry. And I'm not saying life is not hard. And I'm not saying don't grieve the real losses in our life. What I'm saying is, for me, I can't stay there. And for so many years, I have let myself stay there. So the longer I stay there, the worse it gets. Have you noticed? Just me? I don't know. So we become what we behold. The choice is yours. What are you going to choose to think about today? And I would start again by writing down. I've got Post-its, I've got cards, I've got alarms set on my phone because I need that reminder so often, minute by minute by minute. So what are you going to focus on today? It's your choice. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll see you later.